Hey, so in this video we're going to try getting my Evo running again and convert it over to Haltech, so come along. Yeah, so this is my Evo. I've had it forever. It's had a lot of problems, but last time I really drove it was 2020, and I started having fuel system contaminations. If you go, maybe I'll put a link up here trying to clean out the tank. Either way, it's been problems. Finally, I went around and got a fuel cell for it, and the ECU failed soon after. The intake air temp pinout inside the ECU's bed. So I decided to bite the bullet, and we're gonna put a Haltech in this. So that means flex fuel, safeties, all that other kind of stuff, live tuning. It's 4G63 stock, Kelford 272 cams, coil unplug, Megan Racing turbo manifold, Evo 9 turbo, full intercooler pipes, AMS intercooler. Like it's got all the goods. So anyway, the other day I tried to start it to get it in here to start working on it, and it's got no crank. So what we need to do is we need to figure that out first, and then we'll go into getting it right for the Haltech. But let's start with the starter stuff. Yeah, so I just got done testing it. You might have seen the short, but yeah, the starter's bad. All right, I got the new one all in. Let's lower the car down and start it. The tune that's in it's an E85 tune, unfortunately, so it'll probably crank a little harder than a pump gas tune, but hopefully it'll start right up. I don't see why it wouldn't. I parked it running. All right, so I got my Evo running last week with the starter. I got Jason here helping me today. We need to get all the E85 out of the tank, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the return line off, stuff it in a jug and run it. That should get at least enough of it out, and once we get that done, we'll start putting the Haltech stuff in, so like the flex fuel sensor, the intake air temp sensor, all that kind of stuff, because it should be a relatively quick conversion once it's all actually in the car. But yeah, let's get started on at least draining all the fuel, and we'll go from there. What do you think about that, Jason?
That works pretty slick. I like that.
Yeah. Helps when you have aftermarket fuel lines.
Absolutely. These AM fittings are awesome.
All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna install the flex fuel sensor right back here. We're gonna pop a couple riv nuts in, cut this line, run it right there. Only reason I'm really putting it back here is I kind of want to make sure that we have the engine bay clean of clutter. Something I kind of like to do. I don't like too much stuff in there. So when you mount them really far back, you always want to make sure you have them on the pressure side, because you got to think it's going to go through there, all the fuel lines to the injectors. If you had it on the return line, it'd take a lot longer for the ECM to recognize it. So I'm going to have Jason starting on that. I'm going to pull the battery, I'm going to pull the intake, and I'm going to start working on the bung for the intake air temp sensor. And then all we should have to do is wire the fuel pressure sensor and the stuff and put the Haltech in, and we should be good. So let's get going on that, and yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, so there's the flex fuel sensor all mounted and plumbed up. Kind of wish I had a different fitting back here. I can always change it later, but it'll work for now. Just kind of run it like that. Yeah. What do you think, Jason? You like it where it is?
I like that positioning. It would have been nice to turn the electrical fitting the other way, but it fit better that way.
Yeah. I'm a little miffed. I got the intake pipe out for the intake air temp sensor. And I opened all the Haltech packaging, and they give you the sensor. That's cool. They give you the connector and the pins. That's cool. They They don't supply you with the bung though, so unfortunately that's gonna have to wait. So I think what we'll do now is probably put the connector on, get the Haltech in the car, the adapter and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll just have to wait until the connectors and everything show up, and we'll be up and running here in pretty much no time. Yeah, all right, well, let's do that here real quick. Derek's here. We're gonna try getting this car running today. I'm gonna go get some fuel. I think while I'm doing that, he's gonna start measuring some harness stuff. But we don't really need the flex fuel or fuel pressure to get it running. So we'll hopefully at least start it up today. That'd be kind of cool. And maybe Wednesday get the harness and stuff put in, maybe. But, yeah. Well, I'm gonna go get some gas. Okay. I've just been informed we can try starting it. You ready? Mm-hmm. Don't hear fuel pump. Yeah, I don't hear it.
What's the noise up front?
That's an auxiliary pump. We're not using an aux pump, you know.
Yeah, well, it's for the fuel pump controller, the factory fuel pump controller.
Just check mics.
Yeah, I should just do that.
Yeah, because they're hooked up the exact same way.
Apparently selected to the fuel pump pin from the Haltech base map.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what. But
Try starting it?
Yeah.
Did you want to do anything with the intake air temp or anything? It does have cams too.
so actually, it's doing really good.
It's the same cams as the other car.
It's running way better than the other car.
Alright, so it's about a week. Well, we worked on Saturday. It's like 5 or so days later. Got Jason here again. Derek's coming over later. We're gonna finish the wiring, so the flex fuel sensor, the fuel pressure sensor. And Jason's gonna start working on doing the battery relocate. And we're gonna start tuning it. If everything goes well today, we'll probably cut the video at that stuff and do the tuning on a separate video, because I don't want this one to get too long. But yeah, we're gonna wait for Derek to get here and start going.
You put the wires through first.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, I learned something on these GM intake air temps. You crimp them with the wires through the connector. I was saying something to him the other day. I'm like, man, I had a heck of a time trying to get the pins. He's like, well, you put them on the other way. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. So, yeah, if you guys do it, make sure you push the wires through the connector and then crimp it and then pull it back through. For the fuel pressure?
The pressure sensors.
Yep.
Pressure transducers with this.
Okay.
This is the better type of connector.
Shameless plug for Derek's homie. This is where you should buy your connectors from.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of hard to see, but we got her plugged in there. Right underneath the seat. Over here, and it goes up. Obviously this car needs just a massive amount of cleaning. But that can all happen once it's running, and then we can actually like work on putting the wiring away correctly and doing all that kind of stuff. Because if we have to diagnose anything, I'd rather have it out in the open. But I doubt we'll have to, because I mean it already runs. This last little bit of stuff's pretty minor.
Oh, here it is, sensors. Take air temp. Do you have that plugged in?
Mm-hmm. Derek's getting frustrated.
Sensors.
Some of the input outputs for the expanders are being weird. But we got the wideband going, so now we're gonna work on the flex fuel sensor and then figure out the pressure sensor and the IAT in a little bit. Might have to do some finagling on those. So we had issues with that connector, so we're just gonna bypass that and wire them directly to the Haltech like they probably should be. But we got the wideband working, so we did something. Yeah, come tomorrow I'll actually order those pins and probably just link up when I get them and go from there. But probably gonna leave this right now. We'll catch back up with you guys later. All right, so Kelly Moss, Derek's not feeling too hot, so he's not coming out tonight, but that's not a big deal. I'm gonna put the intake tube in, put the IAT in, put the air filter on, get all that done. See if I can get my old laptop to hook up to it so we can try setting up the fuel pressure sensor and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Jason thinks he fixed my zero turn, so he's testing it out, you know. But get cranking away on this, and yeah, see what we can figure out. All right, so Derek's coming over tomorrow. So before that, I want to get this bung put in. Wish me luck. I hate welding aluminum. I don't do it nearly enough. So I'm always out of practice when I do it. So let's get this done real quick, and hopefully it turns out halfway decent. I mean, I'll make it work. Yeah, like I said, not the greatest looking, but it'll work. So we're all ready for tomorrow now. I need to download the correct definition files for the NSP, so I'm gonna run up to the house, hook up to the Wi-Fi and do that, and we'll come back and try it. All right, I just kind of drove up to the house. Hopefully this works. Okay. Would you like to browse? I don't want to browse, I want to download it. Well, I kind of got it working here a little bit, but for some reason the manifold pressure sensor isn't working right. And I'm trying to figure that out right now, but it's not working too terribly well. So wish me luck, but if I can't figure it out, that's probably all the more recording I'm going to do tonight because I'm getting frustrated. And I don't want to do this when I'm frustrated, so yeah. Well, I actually just kind of figured something out. Throttle position is also not reading. So, not quite sure what to do with that yet. So a couple days later, Derek's here. He definitely figured out why the TPS and the map stopped working. So when I switched some of the pins around on the jumper, I took away the 5-volt for some of the sensors. So basically, yeah, the map sensor and the TPS sensor didn't have their 5 volts. So that's why they weren't reading. Got that fixed. We're just doing a little bit more tinkering and we should be good. If that works, then it's pretty much just time to tune the car. Well, Derek just gave me a little rundown of stuff to do on the Haltech. We got the wastegate pressure just zeroed out for now. So I think I'm gonna start tuning this. But that means that's where I'm gonna leave this video. If you guys like what you see here, make sure you subscribe and we'll see you guys next time.